Welcome back to Big Content. My name is Nick Ercolano. That is Jack Settleman. He runs Snapback Sports. I run bdge. Big dogs gotta eat. And this is Big Content, where we talk about everything in the creator economy, everything going on behind our brands, and things that we find interesting going on in the general landscape of media and content. And I want to start somewhere in-house with your YouTube channel that you guys have made a very heavy focus on over the last 6 months or so. And you tweeted something out today. Just generally excited that a few of your previous videos have gone really well.
Job not finished.
Job never finished.
Still to be happy about. Job's not finished. Job finished? I don't think so.
That's the thing about YouTube. You can put out 5,000 videos, never finished. You guys are about 10 videos deep right now, so you haven't even started. You're warming up, you're stretching, but things are going good. You feel you're on a little bit of a high right now because your videos are popping off.
2 of 10.
Don't lie.
2 of 10.
Job's not finished.
Right.
Job's not finished. But I wanted to talk about that side of YouTube because it's easy to get on a high when your last piece of content is the 2 of 10 or the 1 of 10 or even the 3 of 10. You know, the more confetti they put on that little studio screen, the happier we get. But there are a lot of times when you're putting these up over and over and over again, and all you're seeing is 8 of 10, 7 of 10, 8 of 10, 9 of 10 over and over again, and you start to wonder, what am I doing wrong? What can I fix? Is this worth it? I think is probably the biggest question that ends up being asked by every creator. Is the time, energy, passion, effort worth what I'm putting in right now? So I want you to kind of explain, one, the YouTube channel, in essence. What is the overall theme of what you guys are trying to present on that channel? And then, because I think your videos are pretty different from video to video, the engagement and the views kind of go up and down. And I know you guys have had some major hits on the channel, followed by videos very much like TikTok almost, where you can have 100,000 views on a video. The next video might get 500. And I know you guys are investing a lot of, again, time, energy, money into it. So I want to talk about kind of the mental side of it, what you're thinking, because I think that's a really vulnerable spot to be in. When you invest that much time, you have a couple flops in a row and you're like, I don't know if I'm doing the right thing. I don't know if my energy is spent in the right place. So
group therapy.
Yeah.
Group therapy
for
session.
you.
And so that we don't get a 8 out of 10, share this with a friend, please.
Thank you. Today's video was 1 out of 10. I don't know
Was
if you
it?
saw Yeah.
I was going to say, it feels like we got a little momentum.
We do.
People are watching, they're listening. All right, let's talk mental side of it. And then we'll talk actual, what's happening. Mental side, here are my thoughts. If you guys don't know the history, we had a YouTube channel with 600,000 subscribers that was grown primarily through shorts, and they were unrelated to the main content. So, for example, we go to sporting events, and that's our long-form content, but the short-form content was LaMelo Ball highlights and Grizzly Bears playing hockey against each other. So just clickbait content that would drive subscribers. But that's not valuable if you can't get your long-form content out there. So we've actually been at this YouTube thing for a little over maybe 16, almost a year and a half now, I would say, which is crazy to think about. But the first 6 months of it, we were pushing to this channel, and it wasn't that it wouldn't be 8 or 9 or 10 out of 10. It would be 3 out of 10, but it was only getting 400 or 600 views. And I was like, if this continues on, we cannot, if our ceiling is 1,000 views, this is stupid. So that's when we decided to work with a YouTube consultant to pretty much, like a gym trainer, like any consultant, they're just showing you what you probably already know. So I think that extended my mental capacity to be all right, we're going to get a professional in here. They're going to tell me what's wrong with me, help me out. Then for the first 3 months working with them, we still did the same content on that channel, and that was still flopping. And then eventually in November, we decided to make this change. So it was almost like new life. Now, those first couple, I would say the first 5 videos, that's where your mental can really get out of whack, because the first one did well. It got a few thousand views, which we were really excited about because the old videos were getting a max of 2,000. But we were pushing to it from our old channels. Not the day of, we were still letting it go out. But we knew we had front loaded some subscribers on there. Yeah. Then the second one got a couple thousand. And then I want to say it was the third or fourth one got back to the old stuff. 400 views. It was, would have been a 10 out of 10 even today. And I was oof, this is Now, almost, we're like 9 months into this and we're still at the same place. I felt like our content got better, our process got better, but like, what are we missing here? I want to say it's the fourth or fifth video on the channel was the Dallas Cowboys video, and that was when it hit. It's now at like 50,000 views. Now, also running in the background of all this, we launched Punchline with Marlon in August of 2023. And that was kind of like, I know what it looks like now, success on YouTube. So I will say, if I didn't have that, knowing what like a good CTR, good engagement rate, good watch time, and like what the algorithm can do, I would probably be like, shit, like I have no clue how to crack this code. So I think that probably helps a lot. But we had that first Cowboys video do really well. And then we had a bunch of flops. And then we had our Thursday night video do very well, got 150,000 views, kind of ran the channel up. But then coming off of that, we had like 4 more absolute flops for the most part. So it has been like this up and down thing. But I'm confident and comfortable now in saying like we're at a place where I know if we keep at it, we keep the consistency, we keep the process, we keep this level of intention, that it'll break through. And so, yes, right now we're riding back-to-back, essentially like 20K videos. And so, yeah, we're super hype about it. But I'm leaving for a month, so we got to sustain through that. And I think we'll talk about that later in the show. So mentally, it's a roller coaster.
So, like, 2 questions. One, like I guess talk through the feeling. Like, let's say your next 3 videos all flop.
Yeah.
They're like 500 or sub views relative to, like, where you think your standard is. What's your mindset there? Try to really get there.
Yeah, the mindset, honestly, now that we have like 15 videos and like 15 pieces of data, would be those were bad videos with bad concepts, and the intro was bad. Like, there's something wrong with the video.
Okay,
that would be.
So you've more systematized in your place in your head rather than like made it emotional.
Yeah, 100%. That doesn't mean I wouldn't be like, damn, like that sucks, because I think the nice thing about if you're just starting up and you're going at it on YouTube, even you're struggling early, like all you're doing is investing your time. Like, we're investing money, resources, time, travel, relationship, like all this stuff. And so, yeah, if it doesn't hit a little bit earlier because we've kind of front run a lot of this stuff, it can be frustrating. And it's still, I know we're still going to go through these ups and downs. Like, I don't feel like we've hit our breakthrough, right?
Sure.
Which some people, they can kind of have that momentum and then they feel like they're off on the run. But I do think we've finally gotten to a place where, like, we love our thumbnails, we love our title, and really we love the content we're creating, which we were cheating that too a little bit, like trying to match formats. We've come up with our own system. We have this Excel sheet where we're rating experiences. It's us. And so I'm really comfortable with that. And like, I went to the Celtics game last night, and we probably would have done like, me going as a Heat fan and trying to be a rival, and like, that's just not me. Like, we've done that before. And last night it was just like, all right, let's enjoy the game, eat some food, showcase what it's like going to TD Garden, which was really, really awesome. And like, that's the content.
Okay, so based on your experiences now, right? You have Punchline, and you say you feel like you know what it looks like for it to be successful, and now you have data points of good videos, bad videos, that kind of stuff. If you could summarize maybe, I don't know, 3 to 5 things you feel like you've learned, maybe it's from the consultant directly, like really like maybe actionable things that people could take away and be like, okay, this is maybe something I need to relook with my YouTube process.
Yeah, let's go holistic first. Yeah. I think the best thing you can do is literally step outside of your own content and say, would I watch this? When we would get the videos back, like, I wouldn't want to review them and go through them because I was like, this isn't that interesting. Like, this isn't a cool concept. It's not value add. Even though we have videos now that, like, I'll do the second or third watch through and I'm still interested, even though I'm in the content, which is like a weird but true thing. So I would say, see if you can pull yourself out and be like, oh, I would actually enjoy watching that. Then more on like the process, I think the obvious stuff that we talk about all day does matter. The intro matters, retention matters. I am extremely bullish on YouTube in general, like extremely. I think that it's just the future and it's where I want to be putting all my time. But I'm also just as bullish on it like slowing down, which I think is really comforting because we would get up there and our intros would be, what up? We're here.
Yeah.
We're outside. And like, I just filmed an intro the other day, and it's still good to have a script and a structure and a format, but it's like, what's up? We're at TD Garden. We're going to go check out the game. And I don't have to like scream at people anymore. And that's just like nice.
Thank God. I'm so glad we're off that like era. Not you, just
no,
the whole
general.
content like
No, but
scene in
even
general
like the
was
hooks, like I think we're going to die off from hooks. On social, it's still important, but like instead of the hook being like, I literally will kill myself if this doesn't hit. It's like, here's why Jalen Brunson's going to score 30 points. You know, it is all calmed down a little, which I think is refreshing.
So like actionable things when you think about a hook or like you brought up retention, like being like you need retention. That's not actionable, right? Like what do you actually think about when you're like, okay, what are maybe some steps that people can implement
this was a really good one that we just talked through, which was tell people where you're going in the video.
Okay.
Like we just did our NFL products rating, and it was interesting. Like we tried different cereals and taco shells, all that different stuff. And for us, we were like, yeah, people just be curious, like how those products are rated. But we never really told them like what the point of the video was or what was going to happen at the end. And people just kind of like, they just want to know, where's this going? Because unless you're creating a movie, like, I don't need the end to be a surprise if the content is good enough. If you think that pulling the best moment from your content is going to ruin it and you need to save it, then the video is not good. So what I mean by that is, like, we won the Kentucky Derby, right? And if we were fearful that pulling our reaction to the front was going to mean you don't really have to watch the rest of the video, that's a bad piece of content. A good piece of content is, I still know that this is coming, but I want to see the lead up to it, and it's really interesting. I want to see what it's like being at the Derby and like all that stuff. So I think that is another part that if you feel like you have to conceal, the content's probably not that good.
Yeah, I'd agree with that.
Like if you could, for fantasy, if you're like, my number one player is Caleb Williams, and
I'm fearful that no one's going to watch now that I said that.
Right.
I agree.
But the content would be good because you're going to tell them why, and they have to watch.
Couldn't agree. I don't think I've ever put that out like that, but what you just said is basically like, get good at storytelling, a beginning, a middle, and an end that people, even if they know, can come along with you for the journey. And I agree with that. So many people I know during like the fantasy time, especially on TikTok, will be like, this is my number one rated player.
Right.
He's a guy who's this, and this, and this, and then you go to the comments and it's all negative vitriol of just like, no one wants to watch it.
Right. It's just
this
like,
guy.
it was this guy.
It was, And like, if you take the opposite approach, people will watch it and like the content a million times more.
Exactly.
I agree with that.
And think about one more example. How many times have you rewatched one of your favorite movies? You know what the ending is, but it's entertaining throughout.
Yeah.
And so you do only get so many chances to be brand new and fresh to someone, but you're going to retain most of your viewers. Like, if someone watches Batman 1, they're going to watch 2, 3, 4 more than someone's just going to jump in on 3 or 4.
And like on our Dynasty videos now, not even now, but since the channel launched 3-4 months ago, we put timestamps of every player we talk about in every video. Yeah. So even if like today's, we're like, 6 players you have to draft in your rookie draft, I have timestamps listing every single player. It's like you don't have to listen if you don't want to, but like it has not hurt our channel whatsoever. I don't think, at least. But
it's helpful.
Yeah. So I think that's a really good takeaway.
So yeah, it is a mental. I mean, it's all social stuff. When it's hot, you feel on top of the world. When it's cold, you feel like, are we ever getting out of here? But I do think I'm a great case study because we're pouring a ton of money into this. We're traveling all over the world for it. We've, spent a ton of money. It's been 18 months now. And, like, we have 10,000 subscribers. Like, it's not – we don't have a lot.
We out here.
Like, people would think, oh, my God, so much success. But think about it. This is 18 months of work, and this goes back to last episode where we're talking about, like, the last video, the video that got 150,000 views on a long form, I made $600 on it. It's going to take a lot of time. So you have to want to do it. You got to love doing it, and you got to stick with it for a long time.
Yeah. I mean, speaking of sticking with it, consistency of content was something else on our table of content. Scheduling, pressure to keep posting versus taking a break. This is, I think, kind of a theme throughout the creator economy, and every creator's journey is the idea of taking a break versus feeling like if you take a break, you're going to lose steam on the algorithm versus all that kind of stuff. And a lot of it ties back into doing the things that you're really passionate about. I think if you are burning out, and I think this is kind of a different way of looking at it, right? Like the pressure to keep posting versus taking a break. Burning out, I think, typically comes from you doing things that you don't enjoy, like over and over and over again. So you obviously stop wanting to do them. Scheduling, I think this comes down to like who you are as a person and like how you operate. Cause like I don't have bricked off like scheduling pieces of my calendar where I'm like, this is only going to be my.
Are you saying to create or scheduling out content?
Create.
Okay.
So I'm not like Monday morning is when I go in and film this. We do as a group because that's hard with a lot of pieces, but individually, when it comes to scheduling out when I'm going to film, it's more so like when I feel good about it. The pressure to keep posting. This is actually a conversation that almost like a year ago, when we were in the old office, when things on my personal TikTok first started like kind of taking off with like New York City stuff. Yeah. And I remember being like, I don't know if I'm not going to like race to 100K because I don't want to make content really unless I really want to make it. And you were like, well, now you got to do like, the top 5 restaurants, top 5 this, whatever. And I was like, I don't want to do that shit. And I don't even know if I put a video up since we talked about that conversation.
Like years on TikTok.
Right. So like I blew up to like 60K so quickly and then I just stopped posting. And I literally don't look back and I'm like, I regret that at all because I just didn't want to post anymore because I wasn't passionate about it.
All right, but let's talk about the pressure to keep posting if you were, right? Like, let's say it had been something that you were obsessed with. How do you manage that?
Why would you feel pressure if it was something that you love to do?
Like, if you literally just needed a break or it was too much or you had life shit going on because you're doing this as a side thing. Like, I think we're in a privileged position to be able to create content at our disposal. Like, for example, right now, I'm about to be out for 3 weeks. Let's say, like, I'm on fire with my personal Knicks content that I've always wanted to do. Like, how do you manage that? And what I would say is, I think it's almost like a basketball game. Like, if you come in and you scored, like, 6 points, like you're doing well, but, like, it's okay. You can still be subbed out of the game. If you've scored, like, 18 points in the fourth quarter, like, I'm all for the heat check, the double down, the triple down. So, like, it's a seasonal thing for most content, I would say. And that you'll learn as you're in the industry longer. Like, pretty much any industry is seasonal. So you kind of figure out when you need to be posting content and when you can take those breaks.
That's a good angle that you brought up from like, oh, things are going really well, but I'm going to be gone for like a few weeks. Honestly, when that was the case for me, or still is the case, if I feel like we're rolling and I want to post content, I will make sure that I'm posting content even if I'm away for that. I think realistically for me, it comes down to if I want to post it, then I will. Yeah. Like if I feel like I need a break, that's usually because I don't want to post anymore. Yeah. That means like I don't want to do it. But for me, there's a difference between like feeling like I'm not in the right situation.
Is that because you can do it from wherever? Like let's take a cooking creator.
Yeah.
I mean, you could still get creative with it. But, some people like their sets. Some people like their studios. Some people like to have their own kitchen, their own materials.
I mean, what are you going to do at that point, I guess?
Well, cancel your vacation, cancel going to a family event. Like, I think that is part of the question at hand. Like, how do you manage there's different types of pressures, like we said.
I don't know that I have good advice for it, but I will tell you what I've done is I've certainly like sacrificed parts of my life to make sure that our most popular season is the summer. Yeah. The summer is also the most popular season to do shit and go out to drink margaritas and go on vacations and lay on the beach and do all that shit. And I've sacrificed plenty of vacations because I wanted to do the content stuff. Right. If I felt like I was like, oh God, I fucking hate this. My friends are going away for a week. I want to join them, but like I have to do this thing. I wouldn't do that. But like at where I'm at, my vacation is me enjoying this stuff, right? So I think for me, the way I would put it is like if I want to do it, I'm going to continue doing it. And I stopped looking at what the outside world looks at as like the right work-life balance or like, oh, you should take a vacation. I'm like, what if I'm just as happy doing this as you are when you're on vacation?
Right.
You know what I mean? Like that's kind of how I look at it. So I think everyone should find what that is to them.
Yeah. I was thinking about that yesterday. I got a question on Snap that was like, how do I, break into sports? How do I get into sports? All this stuff. I always give like a pause to people being like, it's not sports. You're not getting into sports. You're getting into sports business, right? Like, you need to love sports business to get into this industry. Like, if you go work for the Knicks, you're not watching the game tonight, right? Like, that is, you're not, and it's perfectly fine if you just like being a fan. Like, I actually think a lot of people who love sports, who want to get into sports, need to go into sports, find out, like, you're not going to get paid shit, you're going to work. Like, think about when games are played. Weekends, nights, holidays. Like, that is when sports are going on. So you got to hate weekends, you got to hate nights, you got to hate, and you don't even get to watch half the time. Like, last night, we were literally fucking sitting courtside at a Boston Celtics playoff game, and we had to get up in the middle of the second quarter to, like, film the content. I've done a nice job of, like, blending it so we can still enjoy it, but that's always my first reminder. Number 2 was I woke up at like 6 a.m. to make my flight to Boston to do a whole work day. And then the true work day started on camera content from 5 to midnight. Not for a second was I like, wow, I got like a 16-hour work day today.
Yeah.
And so unless you're thinking like that, you're not doing what you truly want to be doing.
Okay, so basing it off of the way that you set it up, right? Like, your YouTube's kind of rolling right now, and now you're about to leave for 3 weeks. So is there a part of you that's like, fuck? Like, is there a way we could squeeze the video in before I leave, like the day before I leave, and then like,
this is the exception.
Okay.
If you guys don't know what I'm leaving for, it's my wedding and honeymoon. So like,
fuck that.
I mean, there was an internal joke, like, what's the brand deal? What is the price of the brand deal that we could move?
Okay. What's the view count we need to hit for you to be fired up enough?
So this one is so far outside, but we did it for. We had this amazing opportunity to go on a family vacation. It was a cruise down in the Caribbean over Christmas, New Year's, but we were doing Snapback Thursdays, and like there was one more game, and it was like this awkward, weird fight with my mom being like, because she commit to it for us because it was like a big family thing. And I was like, I can't.
Dude,
like,
I will say the other thing about working in the industry that we work in, it's not that people don't take me seriously or like, or understand that I'm not serious about my job.
Yeah.
But if I'm like, no,
you're watching a game.
I need to cover this game or something. And it's like, come on, dude. Like, come do this thing. It's like a Sunday, and I'm like, I literally work in football, you fucking asshole. Right. Like, I have to be locked in at some point, you know? Like, people...
And
like,
it's even worse for the gamers. Like,
exactly.
They're the worst. It's like, just people don't understand. Dude, it's a video game. Like, you could do that whenever. So, there was that moment. We did go on the vacation. At that, if it was now, like, fast forward 12 months, because at that point it was just like me, Casey, and we had a video editor. But now, we can't do that. So are you okay missing those moments? And for me, like Boston was amazing last night, and every game I go to, I'm so happy to be there. But this all ties back
and I also want to say too, like that's your version of it. Like, because from the outside, it's like, of course I would do that if my job was going to Boston. But for me, like, the part that I enjoy is literally sitting at a computer and like researching. The enjoy I get from that, as crazy as you might not believe that, I get like similar highs.
And you would have no interest in going to Boston. No interest.
If you invited me last night, like I would have went, but like
one time,
sure,
which is kind of the point.
My thing is like I'm willing to miss that thing for my version of the Boston game, you know, which is like doing the work for the content stuff.
And everyone is like, oh my God, you have a dream job. I do have a dream job. I just want people to understand there's other parts of it that you got to work. Like, you can get here. That is why that's why we do this show, because there's no guarantee you're going to get here. It might take you a decade to get here, but you actually can get here. For the first time in life, you can build leverage. It doesn't matter what you look like, how old you are, who you know, you can get there. And I think that's my love for social and content. Yeah.
I also think it's fine to take a break. Like, I know people who have made content for fucking years on end that when we were in Arizona for the Super Bowl, we were with Mason, Fantasy Flock. I mean, I think he's made like 3 videos a day for probably going on like 4 years straight. And I don't think I'm exaggerating when I say that. And he was like, man, I have like no interest really to like jump back into next season's content yet.
Really?
It was the Super Bowl of the season prior. He's like, I don't really want to make fantasy videos for 2024 yet. I'm like, take a break then. Like relax for like.
He's crazy because like he'll then just run like a marathon and do.
Oh, he got like lost in the mountains like after that conversation, after a 22-mile run.
Yeah.
But like I'm just saying there are people that even at the highest level will need a break, and you could take a break, and you know if you take a break for like a year, there might be some consequences to it.
Major. Well, that's what I was gonna say. When we were growing up and we were taught about like getting a career and working at a job, it was like expected, at least from everything I grew up with, your 20s is when you were like grinding. Like that is like the working weekends, working nights, like that's fine. You can work and not have to take a break or need vacation. Like you should have to work through times you are burnt out. Also, I feel like sometimes we're just allowing people to like almost take the easy way out. Like sometimes just work your ass off. I think we miss a little bit of that.
I agree with that too. Like your 20s is the time that you should be your most energized, and you should be spending all that energy on building something that you love doing. If you put 10 years into work to something you love, like you're going to have something cool probably at the end of it. But I agree. I think people love to like virtue signal about this kind of stuff, and then it becomes like an adoption by the masses.
I think it all stemmed from this. We sent an email to an agency about, I think it was like a brand deal or something. And they sent an automated email back that they were on their down week from their 3x1 stress relieving work schedule, which is a 3-week sprint followed by a very, very low maintenance period where they don't review emails. They're just relaxing and recharging. And it might work for people, but like just work all 4 weeks. There's a fucking work.
It was kind of funny because we had, after we like ran those Blue Chew ads like a month or two ago, I had emailed the rep to try to get like feedback or results. And I had like emailed her on like a Friday afternoon. And then like, I think JMO texted me like Saturday morning and was like, did we get the results back? And I was like, I know Blue Chew's like a funny thing, but they're a corporate job. You know, like we're not hearing results back for like a week Monday, probably on that kind of stuff. And sometimes you got to remind, like it's hard to remind yourself of that just because it's not even like, oh, we're working on weekends all the time and like we love what we do. Like we are obviously, but a lot of the stuff that we do end up covering is happening on the weekend. So we're like, maybe I won't work on a Tuesday, but I'm probably working on like a Friday, Saturday, Sunday kind of thing. So it's just a weird distinction.
There's never a better time to be in life because the amount of information that you can get for free from the smartest people, the most successful people, the most creative people, it's like insane. Like you used to have to buy books and shit. Like I know you got to filter for it. I know you got to be good at finding it. But
there's so much. Okay, there's as much information as possible available. There's also as much bad information.
Yeah, you got to be able to weed through.
I want to give you an example.
Hold on, let me finish this.
Okay.
My point is, no matter who you listen to, what you listen to, what industry, what niche, literally 100%, not 99, not 98, 100%, there is a common theme, and it's that they just worked way harder than everyone.
100%. Gary Vee always says, he says the only variable is work. The only variable you can control is the work you put in.
So maybe we shouldn't talk about the pressure to keep posting. Maybe we should just keep fucking posting.
Honestly, yeah. Also that too. Just shut the fuck up and post your shit.
We start off trying to. All right, what were you gonna say?
Okay, last night my groin was acting up. Like I pulled it at the combine, right? And it's slowly been getting better. But now that we're like a couple of weeks out from it, I'm like, should I still be icing it? And I only ice it for like the first few days because originally I read like you should ice it for the first 72 hours to help with swelling. And then I Googled and it was like, now you should switch over to like heat sensation or whatever. And then like the second one was like new study published that icing is actually counterproductive at any point of an injury because you need swelling in order for, it's like the inflammation is good for it. So you need the swelling in order for it to come back down. I'm like, and it's from like a real like fucking website that did a study. Yeah. And I'm like, the internet's insane. I don't know what, there's the right answer for everything.
For everything. And both sides are the right
Both sides have scientific backed research proving the other side wrong.
I do think.
I don't know what to do anymore.
Like, this is a perfect example because we're both nursing injuries. Like, I hurt my back and it was like, all right, I'm doing the exercises. But like, if I were, and we started this episode by talking about the same idea, like step outside of it, it's like, go do 20 more minutes of your core exercises like you should be. Like, don't be surprised like that you're a week or two delayed on your recovery. Like, it's just on you. Like, just fucking work harder. Yep. And when you hit that mental wall, like, just you gotta push through it. That's why before we started, you were like,
you're going to the gym.
I gotta go to the gym. Like,
you don't want to go to the gym. That's the only time you actually need to. The other times are easy. The other times you want to go to the gym, you go to the fucking gym.
And honestly, like, lifting weights is my least favorite exercise. Love playing basketball. Love boxing. Love doing pretty much
boxing.
Yeah, not anyone, just on the bag. I can't get hit.
Better.
But like, I think there's probably a little part of me that still just mostly does lifting weights because it just flexes that muscle. That's a terrible.
Don't.
Terrible.
Just go past that.
Of like, I gotta go to the gym and like do the workout.
Yeah.
It's helpful.
There was
because people, we don't go to that place anymore,
dude. So I listened to. Did you listen to the Andrew Huberman and
How to Date 6 Women at the Same Time?
I didn't listen to that one, but I imagine he probably has some good advice on it. Andrew Huberman and David Goggins.
Okay.
Did you listen to it?
Not, but I've followed Goggins.
Okay, so they did a podcast together. It was probably like maybe 2 months ago at this point, maybe even longer than that. And he was saying how there's like new information coming out about the brain that basically they've found the willpower center of the brain. And you grow it by doing things that you don't want to do, that you really don't want to do. So when you go and do, especially from physical activity, so when you go to the gym today after not wanting to do it, that will help you grow your willpower. Yeah. But doing things that like you think you don't want to do, or that most people don't want to do, but you actually like kind of enjoy it, does not help that. Like if you went there today and you loved bench pressing, that's not helping your willpower at all.
It's like doing the legs.
Right. And it's something that needs to be continuously built, but you can raise the roof on the willpower. But as soon as you stop, as soon as that voice, like it might level up, like you might get to the point where it's like doing pull-ups is something that you hated and it builds your willpower. You get good at them, right? And now a set of 8 or 10 and you're like, oh, I don't mind doing it. That no longer builds your willpower anymore. If you keep doing it again, now you have to go to something that's like really uncomfortable.
Makes sense.
So I would challenge you, like anytime you come across something, you're like, I'm tired. I don't really feel like doing that. By you doing that, you're building willpower in every other aspect of your life as well. Let's go to the fucking gym, Jack.
I'm going to.
Good.
Results-based creating. What to do when the results you need aren't happening. All right, just take what we just talked about, play it back for the next 20 minutes. Just work harder. Can you give us a specific example here?
Context.
Sure. So obviously, like,
let me guess. Any piece of content you put out with Casey flops.
Well, aside from that,
that's actually doing well. The last 2 pieces.
Yeah, we're starting to find a little niche.
We're starting to cook a little bit.
Yeah, there's a little cooking going on. On my personal stuff, so on like the Arsenal Academy stuff, there's a couple of really young kids who are like, scoring 7 goals a game.
Yeah.
And so my TikToks are seeing 200 to 300,000 views a TikTok. Wow. But what happens when that's going to be done, right? Like, what do you do? Like, let's say you're a restaurant person and there's no new hot restaurants in New York. Like, how do you continue to use, like, the tools that you have? And clearly you're creating content in a way that people are liking. And it's not just about the results, but the results are helping you push it. Like, where do you go from there? Like, what is the next step to continue that little bit of a rise and peak that you're seeing without, like, you don't want to just go back to 8,000 view TikToks?
So my strategy would be look at the content that is performing well. What is making that perform well? It's not that the person has 7 goals. That it helps the content. But is it the hook? Is it the editing? Is it the tone? Is it the background music? Is it the type of content? Like, people aren't really making much content about younger Arsenal players, right? So like they're starving for that content. So I would figure out what that is, and then I would find content that you could apply to that. First of all, no one's gone to every single restaurant. Like, no one has got. You could do historical Arsenal. You could do
so like that's my summer plan was like basically just to go back and do what the best players from 2022 in the academy, 21, like once a week.
You could do that. You could look at the best Arsenal players or best Premier League players of all time and say, here's what they looked like when they were academy players, and match them up with younger kids. Like, there's always
and I think a lot of what you're asking is like I'm kind of like jumping on the back of breaking news, like recent news that's happening. What happens in the week where there's not breaking news type things? And I think a lot of that comes from internal inspiration. Like, when you're watching content, what are you seeing? Like, fuck, that was kind of cool. Like, how do I spin off of that? And I think what you just brought up, that type of, I don't know why, but I love the content when someone in like the football space, someone will be like, these were the top 10 like high school recruits from like same. It's like that is
so
a
fun.
like it would be like these are the top 10 high school recruits from like 2014. What are they doing now?
Yeah.
And it'll be like 3 guys like you might have heard of, one all-star, and you're like, that's so sick. He was like number 7. Like I think that's a really cool.
And then it's like Kevin White was
Right.
like first.
And that content,
Exactly.
that's like deep research content. Like
Sure.
that's what appeals to people. And then you tag nostalgia.
And that-
but that would be, that person probably found that content because they identified that content that's working well for me is about nostalgic content. And I know that I've been doing that. Now I'm going to take this spin on it. So you got to identify what it is that.
Yeah. I think those are really cool. Like that itself, the fact that you were like, that's fucking cool. And you know you can apply that to what you're doing right now. Other people will probably find that cool. You know what I mean? Like I think that's what you're looking for. Sometimes take yourself out of the creatorship part of it and just be a consumer. And ask yourself, like, as you're flipping through, you might have to flip through 1,000 videos. Be like, that was kind of cool. That was kind of cool. What can I do with that? Is there something I can do with that kind of thing? And it's almost like biding your time until the next big like 7-goal pop off happens.
But that's another thing. It will cycle, right? Like that's just life. I will say, like Gary Vee loves to do like, you could like literally fucking anything and make a $70,000 job out of it. There are certain markets and topics that I actually do think are a touch too small. Like Will's doing Arsenal. They're one of the biggest clubs in the world. They have millions and millions of fans. Soccer's so big. But like, you know, we've had the guys who run a Mariners podcast, and I've just asked them, like, what is your goal? Because if your goal is to be the biggest Mariners podcast in
damn, that's Lyle. I
Yeah.
forgot to email him back.
biggest Mariner podcast
Sorry,
in the
Lyle,
world,
if you watch this.
that's fine. I do think that is big enough to get a full-time job and to make enough wealth from. But like you won't become, that market is not big enough, in my opinion, to where you're going to have like 1 million followers just talking about the Mariners. Because you would have to capture like every single Mariner fan.
Sure, but I think when you're that, like,
could bridge it
is his goal to have 1 million followers? Like, why did you just choose that as like the thing
I'm
that
saying
said he wouldn't have?
There are certain, and when we're talking in sports, like if you're going to be a Sacramento Kings creator, you are going to have to ride a lot more of those waves and know that your ceiling is just smaller.
Sure.
Like it just is. So I think, I don't want to give people pause, but Dynasty is a smaller ceiling than general fantasy.
Yes.
It just is.
Yes.
It's more engaged. It's more dedicated. You can still monetize it.
I was
10
gonna
times better, but
I agree with you saying, but I also think like those people, the people that get into those types of niches are like, that's never their, it's good to open their eyes to it, but it's never their mindset. They're like, oh, I love the Mariners. I love everything about them, but I'm probably not going to I'm not going to like be super passionate because the ceiling's not there in my content kind of thing.
yeah, I just think that is a worry of mine.
I also think most of the time when there's not as many people, that usually means there's an opportunity to make each person matter more and worth more. So like Dynasty, we might have 5% of the subscriber base. I so strongly believe that we can make just as much money from our Dynasty stuff as we could our redraft stuff, despite having 5%
It's a
of it.
high engagement.
Right, and I
guess
think most small niche things have that capability. You just have to be creative.
you do. And it's tough because that is more like I'm thinking in the creator space, you're either going quantity or going quality. You're going high ticket, right? So if you got quality people, you can charge more and you might offer subscription or something like premium experience. And I think when I'm thinking like Seattle Mariners, how many high ticket people are you going to be able to like sell?
I'm not sure what the high ticket product is, which is why I'm having trouble
With
like
Dynasty,
figuring out.
It's obvious.
Yeah,
And
it's very easy to sell things there.
So
For that specific niche, I'm not sure, but if I sat down for like an hour, I could probably think of a few different like product ideas that I think would work, and I think most of them are there. I think looking at other industries would probably help pop up ideas that are not even like sports related.
For sure.
I think helps a lot.
So you're lucky you picked Arsenal, and you're gonna have content for days.
Yeah, I'm in.
Any follow-ups based on what we said?
No, I mean, I think it's like one that's obviously like it's easier said than done because like regardless of if I go and have all these other great ideas, like people are typing into TikTok right now Cheeto Obi because he is scoring 7 goals a game, and I'm the only person who is making full recaps of the goals, multiple different angles, my analysis on why he's so good at 16 years old and blah blah blah.
Do you think he's the first and last great prospect.
But it's going to be, like it's helping that also Arsenal's biggest transfer from last summer, like is hurt and playing, the equivalent of a minor league stint to like get back up to fitness. Like,
right, and at
a
the end
lot's going right for me right now. So like I agree with everything you're saying. I think
the only thing you control is the work. It goes back to that. Like all the things you're naming are external factors.
Yeah.
You can't create those. You can ride them, but they're gonna ebb and flow. The only thing you can do is continue to fucking show up. So shut the fuck up and do the work, Will.
Dumb.
And after you do the work and get your biweekly paycheck, make sure to head over to Dave and Buster's.
I think we should take a group company trip to D&B one night.
Where's my wallet?
We got to do like
I have $70 loaded on a DMB card right now.
No way that still has money on it.
It does.
When's the last time you went?
We went 2 months ago.
Oh, I thought you went when you were 13.
No.
We went for Tony's birthday like 2 years ago.
We went for my friend's birthday 2 months
It's kind
ago.
of a dub.
And they got me with the same offer. Pretty much a deposit match. They were like,
use a promo code?
Code BDG.
BDG. Not code gut.
$50 on Dave and Buster's, and they gave me $20 in free play.
Oh.
The problem with this, funny enough, is like the games don't work. They're all broken. It's an absolute
Dave and Buster's a mess. Every time you look down, you're stepping on a child. It's fucking madness.
I don't know.
Sick that they bring like towers of margaritas that are blue, but outside of that, not a ton of positive.
Did you have anything about Dave and Buster's that...
No, like sometimes when I throw things into the chat, they're just for like conversation. They're not like, let's put this on the docket. But I thought this was funny. I've seen this on the Twitter timeline quite a bit. So Dave and Buster's will begin allowing customers to bet on arcade games. So customers can make a friendly $5 wager on a Hot Shots basketball game. I think that's really, I don't know how they're like legally allowed to do that, but I think it's really fucking intriguing. It's kind of cool.
It's no different than what you were just saying, which is like you're seeing something else work somewhere else, like DraftKings. Like, why not just fucking do it at Dave & Buster's?
I mean, it is the dream for them, right? Like they put this out, it got picked up.
Are they trying to now capture an older audience? Because I'm sure you have to be 21 in order to do this. Does that now like segment out a lot of the younger people?
Maybe it's just like
this is fucking sick.
A spook. Okay, you say it's sick. Would you actually go do that?
No.
Right.
But it's cool.
Right. So that's
I wouldn't do that because I wouldn't go to fucking David Buster's.
Here's a perfect example of everything we talk about on the show.
Yeah.
If you clickbait, you'll get the views, you'll get the attention.
But nothing comes from it.
There's zero conversion. Right? So we did find a way to make this relevant. But yeah, it is not enticing me to go to Dave & Buster's. Now, maybe if I walk by Dave & Buster's, I was bored.
It'd be a one-off thing. We might be like, let's do a vlog or something. It's like the Burger King
commercials. Whopper. Like, it didn't make you go get a Whopper.
That shit might subconsciously actually work on people.
It does.
Yeah.
No,
that'll brainwash you.
It gets you. So I think Dave & Buster's stock up, but if they went up 20%, I'm probably shorting that stock. But it seems fun. The problem is like a friendly $5 wager. I would just bet you on that. Like
that too. I want to know the logistics behind it.
I didn't read anything about it.
We got to go to like the fucking front desk and like place a bet down and collect our $4.72 with their VIG.
Yeah,
Are
they taking VIG off this thing?
Ticket VIG.
That's how they're getting their rev up.
That's actually fucking incredible.
Well, we've talked about ESPN Zone before, and like,
have we?
I feel like we have. You know
ESPN
ESPN
Zone.
You don't know ESPN Zone?
I feel like I went there when I was like fucking 14.
It used to be like in
Times Square.
It used there. I think they put one here, but it was essentially like a playground for should have been kids, but really adults, and like you could do the.
No way! You just said you think they put one here.
Did they?
Yeah, the main one was.
It was
no,
here.
No, I'm
right?
telling you, the main one was in
Not a
Baltimore.
chance.
Times Square, right?
Times Square.
Yeah.
Type in ESPN Zone. Type in. I'm telling
I
you.
think the main one of anything was in Baltimore.
I swear on my life, look. Go back. No. Go back to search. Go back to search.
I saw what it said.
You saw
Let's
what
see
was
where the first one was.
No. That's not the debate. Oh, right there. The first ESPN's that opened up in Baltimore, Maryland.
Yeah,
See,
right.
this is the problem with these
That
snobby
part.
kids.
Baltimore lawsuit. Uh-oh.
Thank you.
Jack Settleman was.
Yeah. I don't know. I feel like this could be a play for a sports. Like, the sportsbook model is done. Physical. Would you agree with that? Like, what would you ever go to a sportsbook for?
It's an experience like with your friends if you want to do that kind of thing.
Time.
It would almost be like, one time maybe. Okay.
2 times?
Is it too dissimilar from sportsbooks, it's hard to imagine it because they're just so not at scale right now. But like, you could kind of make the argument like restaurants. You go for an experience, but like Uber Eats and DoorDash, had those come first?
Quality way different.
Okay. Okay, that's a fair point.
And the social, I would.
But
say
the social aspect, that could be like a reason to go to the sportsbook.
It's like more like the movies. Like once movies came home, like why did anyone go to movies?
That's a fair point.
They kind of stopped.
Yeah, it's just an experience thing that you go to every once in a while now.
So now, but then like Topgolf, they kind of reinvented this whole experience of like fucking hitting golf balls. Like now it's just like a social thing, it's an experience.
Yeah.
So this could be a creative way of, you know, you get a mix of like ESPN's own Dave and Buster's, and then it's like, yeah, you want to go watch the games there? We can also fuck around and play against each other, get some food. Like, could this be the new sports book in the future?
Yeah,
or ESPN?
This is such a headline thing that will never
Exactly.
will never convert into anything real.
Into anything. No one is going to Dave and Buster's.
Except for us. Just to test it out. To make sure to tell you guys not to go.
Yeah. We are going to have to go now. Just for market research.
I'm in. When do you think that probably launches in like 2027?
I feel like it's not actually a thing.
No. It's so
and
big.
if anything, it's going to be like your credit on your card just moves on to mine.
Literally just tickets.
Like I can't cash out.
Yeah.
For my
Take the live line. Take a live line. It's 5.
It's 5. I gotta go be on television because I have an absolute dream job, and you know I haven't worked a day in my life for this. So please subscribe. Work harder, please.
Wait, you're gonna go on TV now? You don't even have time to go to the gym before the next game, do you?
Yeah, it's at 9.
Ooh.
Yeah. Oh, last thing on that.
At 9.
Yeah, it's at 9 o'clock. All right, this is a perfect way to end it. The game being at 9 o'clock, and I know I just said it sarcastically, is the best example of people don't want to work hard and they just want to complain. Who the fuck cares that it's at 9?
I mean, people who like go to bed at 10.
I don't give a fuck. Stay up for the game if you really want to watch the game. And if you don't want, like, whatever. And then you wake up, so you lose out on like an hour of sleep. And I get some people, like, they work the night shift. They can't see it. That sucks. But, like, I don't know. It just feels like we just, like, complain to complain a little bit.
I mean, that's for sure.
Yeah.
That's a valid complaint, though. I think.
Why?
I think most people complain to complain. Because
Why is that a valid complaint?
Because most people are asleep by the time that game ends on the East Coast.
Okay.
What do you mean? That's like
that's my point. Like
the complaining is that it's intruding in their life. Yeah.
Okay. But that's what I mean. They're just
okay. But you're just saying okay. That doesn't like if I was like I'm gonna kill your family. You'd be like okay. Like, that doesn't mean it's not
all
bad.
Right, so how do I frame this in a better way?
I get what you're saying. Like you have the attitude of just like shut the fuck up. If you are not that serious about it,
right.
you're more serious about the sleep. Then be more serious about the sleep and be quiet. Yeah. But there are so many alternatives where that game just doesn't have to be at 9 o'clock.
No, it does because of the TV schedule. And then they'll be like, well, the TV schedule, like, just watch the fucking game. Like, do people complain when...
This is going to be an off-basis comparison.
All right, so the Dodgers started the season in Japan, wherever they started the season. The game was at 2:30. No one complained about that.
That feels...
You know why?
That feels...
Because they didn't want to watch the game.
Yeah, that feels different.
And everyone's like, oh, the MLB such idiots. Like, yeah, they are. But, like, if you really want to watch the game, just fucking get up and watch the game. All I'm saying is, are you going to watch the game?
Am I going to watch the game?
Exactly. It's like the dumbest question in the world. If the game was at 6:30 in the morning, would you watch the game?
Of course.
Because you wanted to watch the game. And that's what we do.
But I don't think you're comparing like a super fan to a normal.
Okay, and so the people that are complaining are the casual fans
Yes.
who are like, oh, I wish it just like lined up better in my schedule.
Yes.
Like, all right, so it doesn't.
No one's arguing against
Fuck
that.
off.
No one's arguing against
Work
that.
harder.
Work hard.
Share with a friend.
Work harder. Share with a friend. All it takes is a fucking click the button down below, idiots.
Peace.